Hey, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're diving into a technology that could solve one of the biggest, most expensive guessing games in human history, how we actually discover new medicines. So let's get right into it.
Okay, so to really get the solution, you first have to understand the massive scale of the problem, and it all boils down to this one really high-stakes question. With all of our incredible scientific progress, why do the vast majority of promising new drugs just disappear?
And here is the brutal, honest-to-God answer. A staggering 90 to 95% of all potential drugs that enter development fail. Just think about that for a second. For every 20 drugs that look promising, 18 or 19 of them are never going to reach a single patient. It's a rate of failure that's almost hard to believe.
Now here's where it gets truly wild, and frankly, a little terrifying. It's the cost. Each one of those failures isn't just some scientific oopsie. It's a financial black hole. A single failed drug can cost a company anywhere from $2 to $6 billion. You just can't sustain an industry on that. It's a full-blown crisis.
So what on earth is going on? Well, this brings us right to the heart of medicine's billion-dollar problem. And it's not a lack of smart people or hard work. No, it's a fundamental gap in what we're able to know for sure.
You see, here's the core issue. For decades, scientists have gotten absolutely brilliant at spotting correlations. They can see that, hey, this gene seems to be active whenever this disease shows up, but they haven't had a surefire way to prove that the gene causes the disease. It's all been about making incredibly expensive, educated guesses based on clues, not on catching the actual culprit.
But what if you could change all that? What if you could finally, definitively, move from just finding clues at the crime scene to identifying the actual culprit? This is where a game-changing technology comes in, one that promises to build a bridge right over that gap between correlation and causation.
In this analogy, just nails it. Seeing wet streets and umbrellas at the same time? That's a correlation. It's a good clue for sure, but it doesn't prove anything. Causation, on the other hand, is proving that the rain is the culprit, the one single thing that causes both the wet streets and the umbrellas to come out. That is the exact leap medicine has been waiting to make.
And the tech that makes this possible is called CRISPR Transcriptomics Integration. I know it's a mouthful, so let's just break it down. It's a platform that does two things perfectly. First, it uses CRISPR. You've probably heard of it, the gene editing tool, to make one super precise change. Then it uses something called transcriptomics to get a complete readout of everything happening in the cell. It's like taking a perfect before and after picture at the genetic level.
So here's how this new detective tool actually works, step by step. First, scientists pick a single gene they think might be involved in a disease. Second, they use CRISPR like a light switch to flick that one gene either on or off. Third, and this is the magic, they measure every single thing that changes in the cell as a result. And boom, there's your answer. You've just proven, with hard evidence, that flipping that one little switch is what caused the disease activity.
And you have to understand, being able to prove cause and effect like this, it's not just a minor improvement. It's a full-blown scientific revolution, and the shockwaves are going to change the entire field of medicine.
And here is the single biggest result. This is the payoff. By getting rid of the guesswork at the very start, this platform can lead to an 85 to 95% reduction in drug development failures. It basically flips that insane failure rate we talked about at the beginning completely on its head. The whole game changes.
I mean, just to put this into perspective, look at this. We are not talking about a 10 or 20% improvement. This new platform makes our ability to pick the right drug target between 8 and 20 times better. That is an 800 to 2,000% improvement. It's not a step forward, it's a quantum leap.
And of course, these amazing effects just ripple out across the whole process, right? Because you're starting with a proven target. Discovering that target is up to 90% faster. Because the drugs are based on rock-solid causal evidence, clinical trials are way more successful. And because the data is so strong, getting regulatory approval is so much easier. You're basically fixing the biggest problem at the very start of the pipeline.
So we've seen the scientific impact, and it's absolutely mind-blowing. But a revolution this huge also creates a financial opportunity that is almost hard to comprehend. So let's ask the question, how much is certainty actually worth? While the absolute baseline market, the one this technology is set to completely take over, is the current experimental validation market. And that alone is already worth a massive $450 billion. That's just the starting point.
But what's really fascinating is that this isn't just one market. It's the point where several enormous and frankly exploding fields all come together. You've got validation platforms, CRISPR tech, genomics, causal inference, And all of them are growing at these insane rates of 40 to 50% every single year.
And this growth is forecast to happen in really clear stages. You start with the proof of concept, already generating billions. Then you move into wider market penetration, we're talking tens of billions. And then ultimately, you reach market leadership with annual revenues that could be in the hundreds of billions of dollars. It's a clear roadmap to totally remaking an industry.
So, what's the ultimate potential here? What's the end game? Well, based on this kind of transformation, the total public market value for a company leading this charge could hit $2.25 trillion. To put that in perspective, that is the same scale as some of the biggest, most powerful tech companies on the planet today.
I think this quote from the source material really just says it all. This isn't just another tool for the lab. It is the platform that finally takes medicine from a world of guessing and correlation to a world of causation and certainty. It's what gets us as close as possible to perfect drug development.
And so, this entire revolution really leaves us with one final, incredible question to think about. Once this technology allows us to definitively pinpoint the exact genetic cause of a disease, what do we choose to cure first? Thanks for watching.